off blast into the unknown with talking about ghosts. Casper. Some other ghosts. I don't know. Oh, my God. I don't know. All right. What's going on, everybody?
What's up, guys?
Welcome to Geeking Poetic Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Larry Roberts. This man who is not a ghost, he is all material. He is a spirit in the material world, like the police would sing. It is none other than
Vito.
And then this little hop-along ghost over here, this grim, grinning ghost sitting in the middle, as usual, keeping it all together, is none other than
Megan.
And if you haven't guessed by now, so much talking about ghosts and the fact that it's that time of year, we've got Halloween and Samhain, or Samhain for you white Western people, on the horizon. We are talking about ghosts. More specifically, we're talking about our top 5 favorite ghost movies. Now, this is a tough one,
This
man.
was super tough. I didn't think it was going to be this hard.
Yeah, me either.
You know, yeah, it like at first when this came up, I was like, gosh, I'm going to have a hard time, like,
Coming up with movies.
because things weren't like popping into the forefront of my head. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
When we first discussed this, I was like, well, you know, there's one or two, but I'm like, man, I may be hard pressed. But then the more I looked into it, I was like, oh shit, there's a ton that I'm going to have to leave off this list. And even now, I don't 100% feel good about this list that I came up with. I don't know about you guys.
And mine's still changing.
Yeah.
It may change as we go. We'll see. It's changed since I got here. So
What about you, Vito? Are you pretty set in your choices?
Yeah, at this point, it is what it is. I'm not going to spend a lot more time rearranging these movies because they can change in the next hour. So
Yeah.
it is what it is for right now. I'll have to go with what I got.
Yeah. Now, did you
we'll
guys...
have to do this again later, and it'll be totally
Yeah,
different.
for sure.
Almost every... I'm telling you this right now, folks. Almost every subject, with very few exceptions, that we've covered on the podcast since we started 2.5 years ago, every one of them, if we probably went to go do it again, like if we did whatever, you know, top 5 Stephen King or superhero movies or Schwarzenegger, any of the things we've talked about, I'll bet you
They would be different.
they would be different now, because that's just the way it is. There's too many good choices, and it's tough. But real quick, before we get into that, I want to ask, and I've been asking this lately because we've sort of implemented some restrictions on ourselves. We have to when we have these lists where we only can do 5. Did you guys come up with any kind of particular restrictions? Like, okay, like if I'm going to make 5, it's got to not include this, this, and this. Anything like that?
I tried to, again, because I had to narrow it down somehow.
Right.
Not to talk about movies I've already talked about, except for one. One I couldn't not have on there. So I try not to double dip.
Now, what you mean by that is ones that we didn't already cover extensively in a past episode.
Exactly. Yes.
Right, and that's a problem. I've got at least, almost everything that's in my list, with like maybe one exception, has been talked about to some degree in past episodes. I couldn't
not include them.
Yeah, I could not include them. They were too important to me. So I wasn't able to do that. What about you, Vito?
I left out like demonic possession and other types of possessions where like a spirit will invade and control someone's body.
Right.
Because then, dude, Ginger Dead Man 1 and 3 would be in that list. Child's Play, all of them would be in that list. Like, where do I stop, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I had to take those off.
Yeah, I had to narrow mine down as well to be, like, I know they're technically like ghost movies, but I don't picture them that way in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to remove them even though I love them.
And it's kind of funny because I had almost the opposite happen, where some of the ones that I ended up choosing aren't ones that I immediately thought, oh, that's a ghost movie to me.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a movie that I love. But then when I really thought about it, I was like, oh shit, that's totally a ghost movie, like big time. And so it ended up making it into my list because of that.
We're just opposites all the way, aren't
Well,
we?
that's what makes this interesting, right? I mean, that's why we're going to probably have some very different lists, I think, because I don't totally know what you guys pick. I have no
I
idea
have
what
no idea
Vito
what you
picked.
guys got.
Vito's always a mystery. So, without any further ado, I say, like, let's just jump
Let's
into
do
it.
it.
Yeah, let's go and do it. We're such dorks. Dorking poetic. That's what we
Our
are.
next segment.
Yeah, dorking hard. Dorking ghosts.
Let's not do
Is
that.
that where we review the sides of whales' penises or something like that?
Oh God,
A dork is a whale's penis.
dork.
And we derailed.
Jeez, what the hell are you bitching about? I got to sleep under some Chinaman named after a duck's dork. Do you know what movie that's from?
No idea.
It's from 16 Candles.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Mhm,
and
okay.
he's talking about Samantha's little brother.
Mhm.
She's whining about that everybody's forgetting her birthday and everything. And her young brother's complaining because he's got to sleep under Long Duck Dong. Anyway, no more dong and dork talk. Let's just get into it. And we, as always, for people who haven't, maybe if you haven't seen or listened to this before, because we do both. If you don't know, again, whichever format you're checking this out, we do this on YouTube. It's a video. If you are watching this, hey, how you doing? You can see us. If you are not watching this and you're listening to us on Podbean or
Spotify. There's a lot of Spotify users, it seems like, for the podcast.
Good.
Ooh.
That's
Hi,
great.
Spotify user.
Awesome. Hey, Spotify users, we love you. But if you don't know, so you make sure you go check out our YouTube channel because we're on there. We've got all sorts of silly stuff on there and comedy videos, all sorts of things we do because we are
We're dorks.
Yeah.
geek and dorks. That's what we are. We embody that. But we are going to go around and do our 5, and then all 3 of us pick our 5, our 4, 3, or 2, or 1. We're going to do it that way. And then if Vito brings up something that's his number 5 and it happens to be my number 3, we're not going to talk about it twice. We're just going to talk about it when it's first brought up. So whoever has it first in the list going accordingly is the one that wins the fucking prize or something. So anyway, all right, you guys ready?
Think
Ready.
so. Yeah.
Here we go. It's summertime. For number 5, Vito, as always, we start with you.
So my number 5 is a movie called Lake Mungo from 2008.
Lake Mungo.
Probably have not heard of it.
No, is this going to be happening a lot?
Yeah.
No. No, some of might throw you for the loop, but
Oh.
I believe I've actually heard, in all honesty, I've heard of Lake Mungo. I know the name. That is all I know about it. So,
Okay.
okay.
yeah.
He's going to educate us.
Oh, I will.
Yeah. Megan, what was your number 5?
Well, I'm a pansy and I don't like horror movies. So I went with Haunted Mansion.
Is it the Eddie Murphy one?
It is the Eddie
Okay.
Murphy one.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
I've never seen it.
Oh, gosh, I love it.
All right. Well, my number 5. So I'm assuming your Lake Mungo one, Vito, is a horror movie.
It's an Australian found footage film, but it's done in like a
Oh.
mockumentary style.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
It's hard to explain, but it's not like a horror film where it's scary. It's just
Is
it's
it more like Blair Witch kind of?
No, it's more of like a drama piece.
Okay.
Oh.
It's
Interesting.
Okay.
very
Interesting.
very good.
Okay, well, mine is just, it's more whatever you want to call it, suspense. I know people that are, they fucking hate that term. I don't, it's a suspenseful movie. I wouldn't call this horror. And it's a very, all my movies are very popular for the most part. So if everybody's going to be bitching that my choices are like mainstream, fucking whatever, man. I don't care. But my number 5 is actually old M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong, Shyamalan's The Sixth Sense.
Nice. That is on my list as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I beat you to
You
it.
sure did.
But before we get to that, Vito, I want to hear about this Lake Mungo business.
Okay, so it's an Australian found footage film, and it's done in a mockumentary style. So basically, like you would watch a documentary, but this is done in that style, but it's all fiction. It's all fake.
Okay.
But it's done extremely well, and it follows a story of a teenage girl who drowns like in a creek behind their house.
Okay.
And they're trying to find out what is happening, and they think that her spirit is possessing the house and trying to get them to solve this mystery while she was murdered. I don't want to give the movie away,
No.
but it's this really sad drama piece set around this ghost story, but there's more to it than a ghost story, and there's like this conspiracy thing going on, and
Interesting.
yeah, the story unravels the farther it goes, and then the ending kind of reveals what happens, but I'm not going to tell you what the ending is. But it's one of the most interesting pieces of film I've seen.
Really?
Yeah.
That sounds right up my alley. I need to check this out.
You guys would love it. Jess would love this.
Okay.
Yeah, you too. You would like find this really interesting.
We're carving pumpkins this weekend. We might be watching
That's
this.
true. Yeah. So
I
that
believe
may-
it's on Tubi. I think that's where I
Oh.
saw it.
All right. Love Tubi.
Yeah. Well, we've got Tubi. So.
And I think it's like an hour and a half, hour 45.
Okay.
It's really good.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now, when did this come out?
2008.
2008.
Yeah.
Okay. So fairly recent-y.
Yeah.
That sounds cool.
Piqued my interest.
It's for some reason it's reminding me of something else, just the way you described it, but I can't put my finger on what it is.
It kind of reminds me of one of my movies I have picked.
Okay.
Kind of, sort of.
It does. That's what I'm thinking of. And I'm not going to say it, but I know
It's coming up.
we talked about it earlier before we started recording. So that is it. It does remind. Interesting. Yeah. Lake Mungo, huh?
Or Mungo. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. I think it's Mungo, though. Mungo.
Okay.
Mungo seems the right way to say it, but
Never mind that shit. Here comes Mungo. Do you guys know what that's from?
no.
You should know what
Blazing Saddles.
Yes.
Okay. Woohoo! I got one.
That's one of my
Mungo.
Oh, I love that movie. Anyway, all right, cool. So number 5, Lake Mungo. That sounds very promising.
Yeah.
All right, Megan. So we got a little
Yes.
bit of Haunted Mansion.
Yep,
Huh?
Haunted Mansion. What's funny about that is you mentioned Eddie Murphy. He's okay. He's not my favorite part of it. The kids are, and the wife is my favorite part of this movie. And just happens to be the little girl's name is Megan. So what can't be loved about her? Right?
Should I make a list? Should I start listing it all off, or
Not unless you want to become a ghost yourself.
yeah? All right, we'll go on.
But anyway, it's a fun movie. I enjoy the quartet and everything. And I do have to say that this ride is one of my favorite rides at Disney in Florida.
Oh, they made an attraction for
They
it.
did. I freaking love it. So
Nice.
yeah, that doesn't help either. And every time I watch the movie, I think of Disney and going on that ride. So it makes me happy. So it's my number 5.
I remember seeing the trailer for this when it came out, but I never actually saw it.
Yeah, it's pretty silly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because wasn't this towards like the end of like Eddie Murphy's kind of like career at that point, like in the early
mean
2000s or mid 2000s?
The burning question is: was this
Is this in
before? Was this before or after he picked up the transsexual prostitute or whatever it was?
Oh, I
incident?
forgot about that.
Oh.
Because he took a little hiatus after that, which is, who cares what he does, man?
Yeah.
Why does anybody care about that? But yeah, I don't remember. I think this was before, but
Okay.
I could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Because I know he had done that Pluto Nash movie and that like totally bombed. And I thought right around
that
that
was
time.
yeah, that
Oh, okay.
that was a bomb.
Yeah, so I didn't know if this was around that era that kind of made him go, you know what, I'm going to bounce for a little bit.
Yeah, I want to say it's the late 2000s. I'm not entirely sure when it was made.
something like
Somewhere
that.
in there.
All right.
But I love it anyway. It's on my number 5.
It's no vampire in Brooklyn. Did you ever see that movie?
No.
Eddie
remember
Murphy's.
I remember the box art in Blockbuster, but I never saw
Eddie
it.
Murphy is the vampire. He cracks me up. Shut the fuck up! God damn it! He's cursing, talking like vampire. It's amazing. Anyway, all right. So, Haunted Mansion,
Haunted Mansion.
number 5. My number 5, as I said, was M. Night Shyamalan's. I believe the way you pronounce it, the correct way is Shyamalan.
Oh, is it?
I think it's Shyamalan.
I would say Shyamalan.
I always say
Time.
Shyamalan too.
Yeah.
I've been calling her crab apple.
This next film is by Shamalama Ding Dong. So hit it. Anyway, no, it's M. Night. We've talked about him before. We've talked a little bit about this movie before and stuff. People give him crap, and he's had some floundering moments and stuff, but overall,
Not this movie.
no, overall, I think I like his stuff, and this movie in particular is fucking amazing. Now, there may be like 3 of you out there that have never seen this and are like, don't spoil it for me. And I don't, because this is one of those movies that you don't want spoiled for you if you've never seen it, because the end is incredible.
Yep, that's what sells it.
Yeah, it's the twist. Ooh, what a twist.
Twist.
Yeah. So it's got a twist ending thing. I mean, to me, this is just, I'm sure people are going to say there's better movies than that. Dude, to me, this is like what it's about when you're a kid and the fear of ghosts and seeing things and stuff like that. I mean, this is really, they make this so realistic, and even the way the kid deals with it and some of his even like irrational ways he deals with it, where he's going, I'm going to build my little tent to go into where I'm safe and everything. And it's all very realistic. It raises a lot of questions about the afterlife and what being a ghost can mean depending on the how and why you die. And I mean, the movie's luster is taken away a little bit after you've seen it and you've had the end revealed to you and stuff, because that's such a big part of it. But I've watched it numerous times since, and it's still a fucking really good movie.
This is my number 2, actually.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's that high up there.
Oh, shit. All right.
Fuck yeah.
Sorry I took your number 2.
Yeah, you sure did. Stole my thunder.
I've only seen it once.
From
what I liked it when I remember seeing it, but I couldn't tell you what happens in the movie other than the ending and some of the kid stuff you're talking about. But
and you know what? And that's the thing. I think that because of the ending and the holy shit moment of the ending, that it ended up overshadowing sort of the rest of the movie. Mm-hmm. Go back and watch it again sometime. Like really watch it.
You can kind of see all the clues they give you.
And it's absolutely, but not just
fuck, I missed that.
Tons of that.
Clever bastards.
But it's also really, like I said, it's also just a really thought-provoking movie. There's a lot of stuff. There are people that have done like real deep, thesis type and analysis of this, and it gets pretty deep into, like I said, things having to do with the afterlife and what things mean and symbolism and stuff in this movie and everything. But yeah, it's worth a rewatch. So again, if you're like Vito and you only saw it the one time, or if you're one of the people that's like, I never saw it because I already know how it ends and everything, I'd say still give it a watch anyway, because it's a really good, interesting, deep movie. Mm-hmm. And it's acted very well. All right, those are our number 5s.
All right.
Nice.
Solid number 5.
Yeah. Vito, number 4.
Number 4 is a 1980 film called The Shining.
Oh,
nice.
okay.
Now this borderlines the possession thing, but there's more to it than the possession that makes it a ghost movie for me.
Right.
So
okay,
it snuck in there a little bit.
Yeah, I love that movie and stuff, but I had to leave it off because to me, in my head, for some reason, I didn't catch on for the longest time that it's a ghost movie. So in my head, it's not a ghost movie. It's more possession and losing your mind.
Yeah, well, we could just talk about it now, even before we move on to the other number 4s, because that's my number 1.
Ooh, you
stole my number
thunder.
1, and but that's okay. That is the one. That's the perfect example. That knocked my dick in the dirt, so to speak, when I was
a lot of dick talk tonight.
Dirty dick, not that. But it was the thing that really threw me for a loop, we'll say, because I had other movies in this list initially, and then when I started to realize what constituted true ghost movies, and then I thought about, because like you, The Shining didn't automatically come to my mind as a ghost movie, but it completely and utterly is.
Oh, absolutely.
Completely, it's a ghost movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I realized that, and I realized what movie it is and how much, I'm like, shit, that's my number 1. It's got to be. It's The fucking Shining. I mean, we've talked about The Shining a lot on this show before. If you want to hear us talk more about The Shining, go back and watch and listen to our Stephen King retrospectives. We've done spoof comic video things where we spoof The Shining. We've gone all into it. But yeah, why did it make your number 4, Vito?
Just because the other movies I had, this kind of fell in that range. But the reason I picked this is because there's scenes in this that really creep me out. Especially the woman in the bathtub.
Oh, yeah.
When he's kissing on her and you're like, and you realize it's like, oh my God, dude, what the fuck? Grady, the bartender guy.
Yeah, it's great.
That
Cool.
I just that visual of you sitting in front of a ghost that's feeding you alcohol, or if somebody else walked into that room, they wouldn't see anybody, but in your mind, you're talking to a real person that's not really there,
Right.
that's getting you drunk, even though you're not physically getting drunk. You just
Right.
think you're getting drunk. It's a mind fuck, dude.
Absolutely.
Yeah, one of my honorable mentions is kind of like that.
Nice. And the bathroom scene where he's in there talking to him, and they're
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dude, it just creeps me out just thinking about it right now. You know?
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's tons of stuff. Yeah, I mean, like we can joke about it. We've joked about it, but like even as the hotel starts to reveal itself more and more, and seeing like the people in the furries, people in the furry costumes, and you kind of laugh at that. But I mean, but it's the concept of it. It's so. Like that would be such a weird thing to happen upon in real life, but then when you realize they're not even really there and you're like, why am I seeing this? And you just realize that it's like all these ghosts just make up the complete embodiment of the evil or whatever it is, or just the presence, of the Overlook Hotel and everything. Yeah. This movie, when it came out, it was panned by a lot of people. It got like Razzie Awards and shit for being so awful and all this shit. And I know Stephen King himself didn't like it because it strayed so much from a lot of the source material. Fuck, but it's such an incredible movie. It has all the things I love about a movie, like silence when you need silence, and suspense, and just the camera work alone in this movie is fucking amazing. But the ghosts and stuff in this movie are the real stars. Everybody talks about Jack Nicholson and all that kind of stuff, but to me, the ghosts are what make this story. They're so interesting. Your number 4, my number 1. Didn't make your list, huh?
No, I had the
You had to leave it off, like you
yeah.
said. That was okay, but fair enough.
So what's your numero 4?
My numero 4 is a movie called The Lovely Bones.
Yes,
I don't know what that is.
And that's the one that reminds me
Of Mongo.
of Lake Mungo.
Okay.
In a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit.
Little bit?
Did a little bit. All right. Go ahead.
Oh, you're going to go ahead, Mike?
Yeah.
So this movie was very sad. It's about a 14-year-old girl. She gets murdered, and you're kind of seeing the movie through her eyes. She's the ghost. You're seeing it, everything. She's like watching her family mourn her and try to move on with their lives. And she's watching her murderer lives next door and stuff. This is everything you know from the start.
Okay.
And seeing him go on with his life and get away with it and everything. And, as she just watched this on time, her mom kind of isn't dealing with it. So she ends up like disappearing, going away for a while, abandons her family. And then the dad, he's like, I gotta solve it. The police aren't doing it. And like he like delves deep into it and goes in his own thing. And it's just so well acted. Mark Wahlberg and Rachel Weisz are the parents.
Okay.
Mark, you feel so bad for him.
Yeah.
And the little girl, I don't even know her name, but she's
I forget,
she's really good. But it's kind of like she's stuck in the middle, the in between, and because she's not ready to leave her family yet, obviously.
She's kind of like in a purgatory sort of thing.
Yeah, where she has some like heaven. She's in heaven, but she's like in between. And so she has, I don't know, it's really cool how they portray it. Because it's like her real world, but it's not. It's really messed up. It's very rabbit hole kind of thing.
Okay.
And there's this other little girl that she's there. She's trying to get her to go on, go to light and everything like that. She's like, what are you talking about? Who are you? Where'd you even come from? In the end, it explains everything, but I'm not going to give that away.
Right.
But it's basically her journey to figure out her afterlife and coming to terms with it. So she has to do what she needs to do for her family to be able to move on without her. So it's a very good story. It's very well done. I read the book first, and I really enjoyed the book, so that made me want to watch the movie.
And the movie lived up to it?
And the movie lived up to it. It was very good.
The Lonely Bones?
The Lovely Bones.
The Lovely Bones.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sounds really good, actually.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, then I think you'll really dig the Lake Mungo movie then.
Yeah.
because that's pretty much
it.
did.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm interested. I know enough about the book of Lovely Bones and stuff, and I've read a lot of things about it, and people have told me about it and stuff, but I've never seen the movie. So now, yeah, I need to see that and old Mungo. Got to see old Mungo Jerry over there, Lake Mungo.
Yeah, it has like a sad, happy ending, if that makes sense.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, there's no way it can really have a happy ending.
Right, exactly.
So.
As happy ending as possible.
Right. Mm-hmm. All right, so my number 4 is probably, at least for my list, it's definitely the most obscure, although it's not. It's a mainstream movie in a sense, but it was basically made more like an indie movie for all practical purposes. Definitely looks like an indie movie in a lot of ways. But it is from 1980. It is a movie called The Fog.
Okay, John Carpenter's.
Yes.
Okay.
Have you ever seen the original Fog?
No.
It's a cool movie, man. Again, it's hard to explain it. I don't want to give too much away, but it has to do with this coastal town, very small little coastal town that suddenly has a fog come rolling in on it one night, and you come to find out that this isn't just normal fog. It's like a mystical afterlife fog that's bringing with it the spirits of these people that had been wrongfully murdered. They were on a ship back in 1880. There was a guy who, I forget his name now, Blake or something like that, he was like the captain, and he was like a rich guy, but he had leprosy. And I think
not the Death album. He had actual leprosy.
yeah. Not Leprosy by Death from 1988. He wasn't going to pull the plug. That's a death metal reference for you people that don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, the basic concept, if I could be messing this up, I'm sorry if I am, is that he was a guy that he wanted to build the town into like a leper colony. So he was on this boat, and he was bringing like these leper like semen people, like so.
I was like, leper semen? Was he going to impregnate women with leprosy now? What's going on here?
Oh, for fuck's sake! This is what happens when you start off a show talking about dorks and dongs and dicks. Okay,
that was pretty radical for 1980. Man. I mean, that's
men. They're basically like leprosy pirates.
Okay.
Like leper pirates.
Now
all right?
I get it.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So they were going to come in, and they were going to take this town and turn it into like a leper colony, but there were already people living there in this town and everything, and they were like, fuck that, we don't want that. You know, that's
who would?
Well, you know. But unfortunately, so what you find out is what they did, they actually like sunk the motherfucker's ship, and they all died. Yeah, and it's like, and anyway, and it was basically there were like 6 dudes that were sort of like in charge of the whole thing. They were like the town leaders, you know. One was like the head leader of the church, and one was like the mayor guy, and blah, blah, blah. So now it's 100 years later, and all of a sudden this fog rolls in, and what you find out is it's bringing the ghosts of those people who were wrongfully killed back to extract their revenge on the people that live there now. And you never really get like a real good look at them. They're always kind of obscured in this fog, and one guy, it's very Captain Hook. He's got this big hook kind of thing, and he fucks some people. Yeah. It gets pretty grim, man. I mean, out of all these movies, this is definitely the one that gets closest to it. It's a horror movie. It's a proper horror film and everything. It's John Carpenter. Yeah. This came after Halloween. It's got Adrienne Barbeau. It was her first big movie role, and she was married to him at the time. It's got Jamie Lee Curtis is in it again.
Oh, really?
She came back and played a smaller role than she did in Halloween, because now by this point she was starting to get to be more of a name. And she kind of came back, I guess, sort of almost like as a favor to him, because she loved John so much. She loved working with him, and kind of owes her career a lot to him. Her mother, Janet Leigh, is in it. the famous actress. She's great in it. She's adds a lot to it, and she's got that old connection, that old Hitchcock and connection and everything. Hal Holbrook's in it.
Oh, nice. I love Hal.
Fuck yeah, he plays a very important role in there. He plays like the town priest, like head priest guy and everything. A bunch of the people that were in this movie, Barbeau, Holbrook, and them, ended up later being in Creepshow. Yeah. Yep. So there's that connection. It's a cool, creepy movie. Now, this was supposed to be it was a mainstream movie. It was a big screen movie and everything, but for all practical purposes, it's an indie film. You know what I mean? Like, there's even Carpenter, when he first got done with it, he like said he was working on it in the cutting room and everything, and he was like, oh no. He was like, this is not nearly good enough. So he had to do a bunch of reshoots, and he wanted to add more gore, because a lot of the other movies that were coming out at the time, like Scanners and Friday the 13th and all that stuff, it was all gore. We were heading in that, it was the start of the 80s. Yeah. So he gored it up a little bit more. He added some more stuff to help flesh out the story, and it did help. I understand it's a flawed movie. People are going to probably criticize me and be like, how does this make the top 5 and everything? Because for me personally, I saw this when I was a kid, of all things, and it was good and bad. It was bad because it scared the shit out of me, but it was good because it wasn't too much for my age, because I saw it probably in 1981 or something like that, when it went on to pay television on Spectrum or on TV or whatever. I watched it, and it was the perfect, at that time, it's just such a good Saturday night popcorn, chiller movie. I love fog is always kind of fascinated and freaked me out. Even now, when I drive home late at night after a gig or something and there's a lot of fog, I get creeped out.
It's my favorite weather phenomenon for sure.
Yeah.
I just think it's such a cool thing.
Everything's so quiet.
It's
quiet really and misty, and it just has such an ethereal kind of like vibe to it, and you don't know. Because my imagination, I'll be driving through the fog, and you expect all of a sudden, like, the fog is going to clear, and you're just going to see all these, like, fucking ghosts, like, standing there on the road ready to fucking behead you or something. It has. So to
I'm
me,
worried about deer.
That too. Zombie deer,
Oh, okay.
But anyway, in all seriousness, so for me, it's more of like a sentimental kind of thing, because for a long time, like, this is what I thought of when I thought of Carpenter. Because Halloween was something I found a little shortly thereafter. For me, John Carpenter was the guy that made Dark Star and The Fog.
Yeah, okay.
That was my first experience and exposure to him. So yeah, it's a cool movie. If you're looking for something like that, I know there's probably some people that have never seen it. If you're open to like older movies, if you like Carpenter and stuff, I don't think it's going to disappoint you. It may not be the best, but
they remade it with the Smallville guy, right?
Yeah. And I only saw like little bits and snippets of it, but it didn't do well. People did not care for it. They made it into more like a teen horror movie kind of thing, and this isn't that. This is really cool. I love the setting of it because it's in this coastal town, and Adrienne Barbeau is like she's a radio DJ that broadcasts from the top of a light tower. Like an actual light tower and stuff. So it's really cool, man. It's got a lot of like really cool vibe to it. Great cast. So check it out.
Nice.
Sounds like a horror movie I can handle.
Yeah, it's got some parts where you're gonna some grisly parts in it, but they're not like massive. It's not like now where these movies where it's like 90 minutes of just blood and gore and brutality.
Yeah, I don't want that.
It's not like that. No.
Okay, cool.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
All right. moving on to number 3, Vito.
I've got a film from 1999 called Stir of Echoes.
Nice.
Starring Kevin Bacon.
That didn't make my list, but it almost did.
I've never seen that, but I want to.
Oh, it's great.
All right.
Yeah.
Be interested to hear more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Megan?
I went with the 1984 movie Ghostbusters.
Yep, that's my number 3.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So we've got Stir of Echoes and a couple of Ghostbusters because busting makes me feel good.
Oh, Lord. Here we go again.
Sorry. All right. I'll put away my Ray Parker Jr. for a moment. Let's talk about Stir of Echoes.
So this movie, man, this is one of my favorite Kevin Bacon movies by far.
Wow.
He is so good in this movie, man. So basically the story is a couple, Kevin Bacon and his wife and their young son move into the Chicago town, and he is very skeptical when it comes to ghosts and stuff like that. His sister-in-law decides, all right, I'm going to hypnotize you and make you open your mind to be open to all these other things. So he's like, yeah, whatever, screw you. We'll do it for a gag. But he gets hypnotized, and she puts this suggestion in his head to be more open-minded. Well, it works. And he gets these visions of this girl who was murdered. And it's a whole murder mystery of he's got to try to solve what happened to this girl. And you find out as the movie goes on what happened, what's been going on in this neighborhood that they just moved into, and it's this whole thing, and you're like, holy shit, man, this is crazy. There's some fighting between him and his wife. He gets really obsessed with this, and he has to dig and find out what is going on, and I'll just leave it at that.
Damn, that sounds really good.
It's so good, Megan.
All right.
It's based off
right,
a
you're
book.
just have to give me your list so I can just check all these out.
Yeah, it's good. I haven't seen it in years, but that was one that when I was looking up movies and I saw that, I was like, oh fuck, that's a good movie. That could have possibly made my list if I would have had more time to go back and review that and everything. But I just remember it being, I think it's one of. It's got its detractors too. There's some people that don't like Stir of Echoes and stuff, but I thought it was a great movie. I think it's one of the best movies of the 90s.
Wow.
No.
Okay.
At least the late 90s.
There was a sequel, but I have not seen the sequel. So that might be better. I don't know. But
for you, it could be.
I'm going to say no because this movie's pretty damn good.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's the sequel called? Is it like Baste the Echoes? First you stir the echoes.
No,
then
it's
you
just
fold it.
It's like Stir of Echoes with like a tagline, and I forgot what
Oh.
the tagline is.
That is very early 2000s to do that.
Absolutely.
like Blair Witch 2, Book of Shadows, and so on.
It's actually Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2. They didn't even put Project. It's just Blair Witch 2, which I love.
Sorry, I had the lines backwards,
Yeah.
and we know that Vito.
That's my movie, guys. Yeah, I got to correct you on it. I'm sorry because it's way better than the first Blair Witch movie. I said it.
Are you hearing this at home, everybody?
Did you just say that?
I did.
Book of Shadows.
Book of Shadows is a much better film than the Blair Witch Project. Fight me.
Wow. Yeah,
Sorry,
we got
guys.
to restrain Megan here. Well, hey, to each their own, man. That's fine. But anyway, Stir of Echoes. Yeah, it's good casting. It's a really cool story, the way it unravels and everything. Yeah, definitely check it out.
Yeah, I will be.
Okay.
You bet your bottom dollar on that.
I'd buy that for $1. All right. Well, we've got Tiesies. We tied up. So number 3 is our Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
Go ahead. Go for it.
Who are you going to call?
I'm going to call Ghostbusters, apparently.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, you're going to call Ghostbusters. I'm calling them up right now. So,
I mean, this movie, I just watched it again the other night, and it holds up for me. After all these
it's
years,
still
it's
funny.
still fucking funny as
Yeah,
hell.
it is. Yeah, it's still very funny.
I mean, it's obviously dated and everything, but that's what makes it so great.
I still laugh at the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I'm still 11 years old. When I went and saw it with my family, and I went and saw it with our family friends, Marianne. You know Marianne. Marianne and Jim and her kids. And we went and saw it at a theater down in Princeton, Kentucky.
Okay.
Actually, you were just right
I was
by
just there, yep.
and everything. And went and saw it at a theater down there that summer of '84. It was a good summer, man. That was a really good summer. A lot of fun. That movie, I laughed so freaking hard at that movie. Like, we walked out of that movie, just me and Mike, my friend Michael. We walked out of that movie just like sold. Like, I couldn't wait to see it again. I mean, yeah, it's one of those quintessential things. You say ghost movie and people say Ghostbusters.
Yeah. And I saw it as a much younger age than you, so I found it scary. Funny and scary at the same time, and that's perfect for me.
Yeah, I didn't think it was scary at all. I was by 11. There's nothing. There were parts that were suspenseful, like tense, because you're like, oh shit, how are they gonna get out of this kind of thing? Like, you know what? I'm gonna take that back.
Yeah, take it back.
I found the dogs, the demon dogs.
that end scene with that.
The demon
That's
dogs.
very scary.
Gozer.
Yeah.
Or not Gozer. What's the dog's name? Is something else?
Yeah, was it Gozer the Gozer?
Oh, it is Gozer the Gozer. Always makes you think of Bolga the Bulgarian. That's what I used to call her.
Bolga the Bulgarian, Gozer the Gozerian. Oh boy. We're not going to explain that story. Leave that for another time.
I'm clueless too, guys.
Yeah,
okay.
that's fine. But yeah, I remember seeing that, and I was like at that. I was like, oh, that's pretty creepy, you know, when it's chasing after Rick Moranis and everything. All right, who brought the dog?
For me, Rick Moranis like steals that film.
I love
think
him.
He's great.
Oh yeah. Fucking incredible cast.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that's the other thing about Ghostbusters. It's another one of those ones where you're like, this movie was cast perfectly.
Perfect. Yeah.
Rick Moranis, Sigourney Weaver, Bill Murray, Ernie Hudson, Dan Aykroyd, and Harold Ramis.
Harold Ramis. Yes.
Sorry, I just had a complete blackout there. What the hell was wrong with me? Harold Ramis, who's the genius behind a lot of that, and the genius behind a lot of Animal House, all that Stripes, all that stuff.
He was my favorite.
Egon.
Growing up, he was my favorite.
Yeah.
It's such a crush on Egon.
Oh, go figure. That is so appropriate for you. The nerdiest of them all would be the one, yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, just great cast. It's still funny. Even the sequel, not as good as the first one, but still pretty
Still good.
good. Oh no, here we go.
Here we go again.
Sequel, man.
I think the second one is funnier than the first one, to be honest with you.
It might be funnier at times.
Dude, there's some scenes in the second one that just crack my ass up, man.
Okay, I'm going to say this. The second one, if it falls behind at all for me, because it holds up real well, the ending is with the Statue of Liberty and then singing, the band is singing Put a Little Love It or whatever it was, and, you know, singing the song together. That doesn't match up to the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Not at all.
I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry. That's just my, especially when I was a kid, although who am I kidding? My humor hasn't changed that much. That's just my kind of humor. When he's sitting there and all of a sudden you hear that's the music, then the stomping and everything, and then you see this big goofy ass looking Stay Puft guy, and it's the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. It's like, I couldn't help it. It was my favorite thing as a child. That was just so my humor. I was crying with laughter, and so I still have a soft spot for it. But yeah,
Soft spot.
soft like Stay Puft. Yeah, he's pretty soft. But I felt bad for Stay Puft when they had to when they blasted him. You know, poor Stay Puft.
But he smelled good though.
Well, Megan, that would literally terrify her because she does not like marshmallows.
I'm not fond of marshmallows.
Yeah.
A burnt marshmallow I like though, so I don't mind if he gets blown up.
I was just say Stay Puft was pretty burnt by the end.
Yeah.
So
I
you
like
might
burnt
not.
marshmallows, so we're good there.
That was a lot of it though.
That was a lot.
And then of course Slimer.
I love Slimer.
Slimer's great. But all right, moving on. Number 2.
So mine is a movie from 1959 called House on Haunted Hill, starring
nice.
Vincent Price.
I thought about that one too, man. That's a good movie.
It is.
Goofy.
A little, but
a little
it's
bit.
a 50s movie, so I mean, it's...
Yeah. That's cool. All right, I'll be interested to hear what you got to say about that. Megan, what is your number 2?
We talked about my number 2, The Sixth Sense.
Oh, right.
Yep.
My number 2 is the most recent movie on my list. It is a little movie that came out in November of 2019, and it's one that all 3 of us went and saw at the movie theater.
Yeah.
It is none other than fucking Dr. Sleep.
Nice.
because that movie just fucking rules.
That's my favorite movie from 2019.
Oh, man.
It was my second favorite movie from 2019.
Fair.
There's some real good movies in 2019.
Nope.
I wouldn't say this is my favorite, but it's probably top 3.
Yep, this is my favorite, hands down.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, do you want to get into talking about your number 2?
Sure. Let's
All right.
do
So
it.
House on Haunted Hill, good old Vincent Price.
Yeah, so this is a movie when I was a kid, I would rent this from the library because I was really into like black and white films. And this movie is set up as a ghost movie, but technically, well, I'm not going to ruin it for you guys. It does fall in the ghost category for me.
This is why I didn't include it. Yeah. There's some controversy there with that, but
for me, it's the premise of a ghost movie. It's basically a bunch of people get seduced into coming to this house to spend the night, and at the end of the night, I forgot the dollar amount in this version. It's probably like $100,000 in 59 money. That's probably pretty good.
That's a lot of money.
There was a
That's a
remake
lot
in
of money.
'99, which I think was like $1 million or something like that. But
Yeah.
they have to spend the night, and they cannot leave the house, or they don't get any money. And this husband, which is Vincent Price, and his wife set up this murder party, and just stuff goes wrong, and they think there's ghosts and stuff, and you see there's this weird tension between Vincent Price and his wife, and they really want to like kill each other, and there's this whole mystery involved. And there's a goofy scene in the basement with this old woman that just cracks me up. And I guess for 1959 it was a terrifying scene, but if you watch it now, it's like,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's something we would do in one of our teasers.
Oh, yeah. There's so many
Man.
things in this movie. The skeleton and stuff. Oh my God, dude. Yeah, there's, I might be wrong. I think this had to be the movie that back when this came out in the theaters, they did a whole thing where they actually hooked up like a skeleton to like some wires in some of the theaters. And then, like, at a certain time, they would have a skeleton come swinging down. You wouldn't like that?
No.
So they could still get you with that,
They would still, I'd run you over to get the fuck out of there. Later, guys. I'm out.
Yeah. Dude.
I'll wait in the car.
Apparently, it was pretty funny when it happened. They would lower this down, and people were like, Scare-a-vision or something.
Nice.
I forget there was a name for it, but
all those 50s theater gags, dude, they're awesome.
I kind of miss it. I mean, I love modern movies and the movie theaters. And I know a lot of people have been debating about like, oh, if I close all these movie theaters, does anybody really care? Who likes going to movies anymore? I do, man.
I do.
I mean, I can't say I go see all the time, but we go several times a year. It's a different experience.
Yeah.
And there's some movies that I enjoy more because I saw it at the theater.
Yep.
I firmly believe that. I think a lot of those old movies that's like an important factor. I think people have to remember they were made to be played in a dark movie theater on a big screen. Has a different feeling than if you were watching it on
Saturday afternoon at 2 p.m. on your couch with the blinds open. It's a different experience.
Exactly, especially those old ones like that. Yeah. Vincent Price was great.
Yeah,
man.
dude.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen this one. Another one I need to check out.
It's a
Sounds
classic.
Yeah, it's a classic,
Absolute classic. Yeah.
And like I said, there's a '99 remake that I actually really enjoy. There's some really awesome visuals in that one.
I can't remember if I saw it. There's a part of me that says, "Oh, you saw that," but I'm trying to remember it now, and I can't remember it. So I guess I may as well have not seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind checking that out. But that's a solid suggestion. All right, so Megan, your number 2 was
The awesome, amazing The Sixth Sense.
Yeah, so we already talked about that. So we'll move on to my number 2, which is the awesome and amazing Dr. Sleep.
Yay.
So for those that don't know, I'm sure most of you probably know, Dr. Sleep was a long awaited follow-up to The Shining. There was a book that was the first, great book that came out first that Stephen King wrote as a proper follow-up to the Shining book. And then they had a problem when it came to making this movie, because then the problem was, well, if we make this movie, how do we do this? Are we going to make it an adaptation of the book, which is going to leave out a lot of the stuff from the Shining movie, because the Shining movie and the Shining book were so different from one another? Or do we make it a sequel to the Shining movie, and then we're going to leave out all these important things from the book? And they came up with, and we talked about this when we did our review, they came up with the perfect way to combine both. And that's the way it should be done.
Yes.
I thought they did an incredible job. I loved that movie. Even knowing what was basically more or less going to happen, kind of, because, I know the book. I knew what happened in the book. And I spoiled some things for me as usual.
Of course you did.
Because I'm a spoiler. I always spoil things. But even kind of generally knowing a lot of stuff, about it, it still was extremely tense. And, I don't think there was a lot of talking between the three of us when we watched that movie.
I was on the edge of my seat.
Yeah,
right.
So good.
Other than at times being like, dude, look, kind of like, holy shit, look at that reference, especially when he gets back to the Overlook at the end and stuff. Spoiler alert a little bit. But when he goes back to the hotel and the dun, 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 they start playing that music and you're like, oh, fuck. Like, dude, we're there. We're back at the fucking, like it's, 40 years later. It's such a good movie. It's another one that in some respects it bears a little bit of similarity to Sixth Sense when you think about it.
Yeah.
Because Sixth
Kind
Sense,
of.
yeah, when you think about the young girl, and she can see ghosts and she can, because she's got the Shining, and she's got part of the Shining is being able to talk to people that are not of this plane of existence, and certain thing, and then certain little things that happen at the end I don't want to get into within it kind of reminded me a little bit of the end of Sixth Sense, although not as much of a surprise twist, but it still had a little bit of the same feeling to it. I don't know. Like I said, it's just one of those things, man. We've talked about it in such great detail. I feel like I'd just be repeating myself, but
yeah, me too.
What a fucking good movie. And it didn't do well.
No.
That's dumb.
They were going to make another one.
Really?
They were talking about making another movie, probably continuing on with her now, maybe as she gets older or something, and like, her continuing the story somehow. They were going to continue on and do another one, but the movie did so badly, now they've shelved it. I'm like, motherfuckers, you people disappoint me so badly. Because
maybe it'll be like The Shining, where people come to their senses later.
And if I understand correctly, and maybe I'm wrong, but I thought there's like a director's cut of this. There's like an extended director's cut out. That's what I heard, is that there's a director's cut of this that adds a bunch more stuff, and it's like, oh,
really?
Shit, yeah. And like I said, now I don't know if that's been like officially released, if that's on like a Blu-ray or a DVD or something like that, or if that was something that kind of leaked out. I have no idea. You people might know better than me. Let us know, because we would definitely.
We want it.
Yeah, we'd definitely like to know, but. If there's an extended cut, that would be amazing, because there was still a lot of things that had to kind of get left out.
Right.
But everything about this movie, again, the cinematography, the way it was shot, the way it was acted, the tension, it was such a tense movie.
Yeah, I was real curious to see, because so much of it happens in their heads.
Right.
It's like, how are they going to portray this? And
the astral projection,
amazing.
Awesome.
And all that. They did such a good job with that. And I feel like some of the things that were scary in The Shining, they actually made even more. Dude, the woman in the bathtub.
Yeah.
What they did with her in this, in Dr. Sleep. Like at the very end, again, it's not giving away too much, but at the very end when the girl looks over to her bathroom after everything's happened, and then all of a sudden that door opens and that old lady creeps over looking. It's like, holy fuck, man, that's so awful. Like that's so, it makes me, I always think of that. Sorry, Vito. I always think of that with your bathroom down at the end of the hallway.
Yeah.
Because the way it's laid out in the tub, I'm always
oh man, I'm not going to be able to see that. I can't go upstairs now.
Yeah. I always think of that. Like, yeah, we need to spoof that sometime, somehow. But, I could come up with some real doozies for that one. Again, much like The Shining, I wasn't sure about it being on the list, but then when I really thought about it, I'm like, now The Shining is more. I made The Shining my number one because that's even more of a ghost story to me.
Yes, I agree.
Than Dr. Sleep. Dr. Sleep deals with a lot of other things too, but still ultimately at the core of it, especially once they get into the overlooked stuff again.
Yes.
It deals with ghosts and they're very important. You know,
Oh, yeah.
and well, there's other ghosts and stuff too. But again, I don't want to give away too much. People give it a chance. I really want you to see Dr. Sleep. You know, if you like the original Shining and stuff, man, give it a fucking chance. Plus, it's got Ewan McGregor in it, and he's just a god to me. So, enough said. But anyway,
The little girl was amazing in that as well.
oh, she was wonderful.
She is.
Again, so I said the casting of this, so good, so damn good. But anyway, you cared about these characters, and we talk about that a lot with movies that
Sure
we
do.
review and debate, is whether or not you end up giving a damn about the characters, and you give a damn about all the characters in this. You even at times have a little bit of empathy for the villains. For Rose the Hat and everything, there's points where you go, yeah, I kind of feel bad, and then you go, oh no, she's
Fuck
horrible.
her. She's terrible.
She's fucking horrible, but that's a good
you missed
story.
the bad scene.
Oh no, I know all about it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that was rough, man.
That was tough.
I could hear, I walked out of the theater at the right time because there's this horrible scene that involves this little boy. Oof. And I walked out to go to the bathroom, and I could hear it through the wall because the bathroom was right next to our theater and everything. And just hearing it, and I already knew from the book, I already knew what happened and everything. Just hearing it, I was like, oh, God, I'm not sorry I'm not watching this.
Yeah, I think both me and Vito were watching through our
Yeah,
fingers.
that was-
like, oh my God. Oh,
And I
can't watch.
did watch it later when I watched the video
Did you?
of it.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but it was still awful, just awful. Yeah, it's hard to have empathy for those people after that.
After
that's
that,
for sure.
especially, yeah.
But anyway, so that's my number 2, man. You know,
Solid.
yeah, it is solid. Unlike a ghost, which is not.
Nope, sure isn't.
All right, number 1. We're down to number 1.
Well, this is a movie I have talked about before on this show. It's from 2002. A little movie called Ghost-Bustin.
It had to be on
Should've saw
there.
that coming.
Had to be Vito and his ghost ship.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, well, we'll get into that. Megan, you're number 1.
My number 1 is a little movie we've talked about before, but it has to be my number 1 because it's my all-time favorite movie, and that is Beetlejuice.
Yeah. No, we're not all going to join hands around the
Oh, come on.
Day-oing and jumping the line, and we're not going to rock your body on time. Okay? I believe you. Anyway, so, of course, it's funny because I didn't even think of it until you just said that. I was like, oh, of course Beetlejuice has to be on here. And that's a total ghost movie.
Totally.
Completely. I mean, that's the whole, yeah, okay. It's funny, I know we talked about these before, and it was like Beetlejuice, but I don't know why that slipped my mind. There's other
It
movies.
did mine for a while, actually. I was like, wait a minute.
There's other movies that,
Duh.
so that's your whole list. There's other movies you did not list that I am stunned didn't make your
I have
list.
several honorable mentions.
There's going to have to be.
Yeah.
Well, then my number 1 is, we already talked about at length, was The Shining. So I'm out,
Out.
at least until we get to the honorable mentions. So Vito, lay it on us with a little bit of Ghost Ship.
Ghost Ship. I love the idea of a ship that's been lost at sea and people find it.
Mm-hmm.
And in this instance, there's ghosts on board the ship, hence the name Ghost Ship. And I just think the story of this is so well done, and the idea of the story is just amazing. I'll kind of spoil some things about it, but a group of salvagers get a tip that there's this huge ship in the middle of the ocean, and it could be theirs, and they could have all the rights to it and a shit ton of money for it. So they decide to go there. They get on the ship. A bunch of bad stuff happens. You find out that there's this gold that was on the ship, and there was some greed that happened, and people got murdered over this gold. Well, they didn't just get murdered. They got stuck on the ship and are now on the ship terrorizing this crew. And there's a guy that's been orchestrating this whole thing for a specific plan. And I think that plan is awesome.
Okay.
And I won't spoil that part of it, but that's like the gist of the movie.
Okay.
Visually, I think this is a great film. I think the cast is awesome. Acting is great. And it's just it's one of those movies where I always want to watch it no matter what kind of mood I'm in. I can always put it on and enjoy it, you know?
Nice.
Yeah.
You do love that movie.
I do.
Yeah, you've talked about it a lot. I'm like, it's not quite my kind of movie. I've never sat and watched the whole movie in one sitting. I've seen pieces of it. I've seen the infamous beginning.
Oh, the intro to this movie is one of the greatest horror film scenes ever
So
put onto tape,
ridiculous.
man.
It's so ridiculous, but it's one of those holy shit moments, that's for sure. Yeah. It's not your kind of movie, Megan.
No.
No, not
Especially
this one.
that part.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's grim. It starts off on a grim foot.
This isn't the one where they're like half stuck.
No.
What is that?
It's decapitations.
Are you thinking about the
Oh.
Philadelphia experiment?
That's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
Mhm.
Vito's like, yeah. If you can't tell, folks, Vito likes his grim outcomes in movies. He's definitely the more horror.
But that was
Yeah.
based on a true story.
True, yeah, no,
It's
it's
true.
still horror. There's-
Supposedly a true story.
Yeah, right. Here we go. We haven't done a real talk in a while. It's
Yeah.
like we're getting into some real talk. But all right, Megan, your number one was old Beetle guys.
Beetlejuice.
Don't say it. Don't do it 3 times.
I won't do it.
Yeah. It's showtime.
I don't know. This movie is just amazing to me. It's funny. It's fun. Michael Keaton's fucking amazing in it.
Yeah.
Winona Ryder's amazing
Yeah.
in it. I love the couple. I can't.
The couple, yeah. But that's
Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin
Alec
and
Baldwin,
Alec Baldwin. Yeah. Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis.
Gina Davis.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it. I love them as the couple. I love the pain in the ass couple that moves in. I just love everybody.
I love the idea that
I love the music.
Yeah.
well, I mean, it really was. I mean, we had other movies before that, Pee-wee and all that stuff, but this was the one that really introduced Maine America and the world to the Tim Burton style,
Yeah.
you know? And I loved the fact that it was like the afterlife and everything was so kind of morbid and odd, but not in the usual way of heaven and hell and all this stuff. It was just more like an abstract painting or something like that.
And it
Like,
was like fun at the same time.
it
you
was
know, it's-
fun,
That
but
funky hallway with all
Yeah.
the doors and seeing the one you're like, ooh.
yeah, and it was kind of one of those things where one of these things where you're like not sure if you're supposed to be scared or if it's supposed to make you laugh. And, you know, I mean, in that world, you know, even if you were in that world, it's like, you know, and Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin's characters are like, they're such nice people, but meanwhile, they're fucking dead and they're ghosts and they can be scary if they want to be.
Mm-hmm. But they don't want to be.
But they don't necessarily want to be. And it just, the whole thing is just odd. And then it's like, and what exactly is Beetlejuice? They never really like explain to you, because everybody else you see in the afterlife
It's a ghost.
is basically was somebody. They were either a normal couple or they were a headhunter from the jungle or they were a football team
Yeah.
that died in a crash or it was all these like normal people. But then Beetlejuice himself was like this other weird, he wasn't,
worldly guy.
yeah, he wasn't really
It's like he's
a
not
human.
a demon, but he's not human.
Was he
Right.
like an exterminator, but for like humans or something? I forgot what this title was.
It was some kind of weird thing
Right.
like that, yeah. And it was,
Yeah.
and then the idea that this really odd family would move in there,
Mhm.
you know, just totally odd family, and it was like perfect. It was funny that the family that moved in there was more strange and morbid than the dead people that were inhabiting the house. It was
Yeah.
like that little flip, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Love it.
Obviously, we talked about this a lot. We did a whole feature just a couple months ago. We did a whole thing talking all about Tim Burton movies. So if you want to hear us talk a little bit more about it, it's in there, especially since it's Megan's favorite and everything. And that's it. That's it, folks. That is the list.
Yeah, it was a good list.
It was a good list. Yeah. A lot of some crossover, but a lot of variety, covered a lot of ground. But we're not completely done quickly.
Wait, that's not all.
But wait, there's more.
Tell him, Billy.
Great dorky minds think alike. All right, Vito, why don't you lay it on us? I'm sure you've got some honorable mentions.
Yeah, I've
and
got
stuff.
a couple here.
Okay.
One is the movie Ghost.
Yeah, I can't
That's mine
believe
as well.
that didn't make Megan's list.
Yeah, that's mine as well.
Fucking
It just barely got knocked out.
Swayze.
I know.
And then it's made even more poignant by the fact that he is a ghost.
It's like he knew.
Wow.
The next time you're making a pot and you just feel a little bit strange, like there might be some behind
that'd
you.
be fucking amazing, man.
Might be a little touch of the Swayze.
I'm good with that. I'm fine with that. Totally okay.
I loved Patrick Swayze. I'm not trying to make fun of him, man. He was what a fucking cool dude. You know, sad what happened to him in the movie and in real life.
Yes, it's very true.
That's a great movie.
The reason it didn't make my list is I haven't seen this movie in years, guys.
Okay.
So it's like,
same.
Yeah, I
you
had
know,
a few like that.
I
did
know
the
if I saw it again, I'd probably like, oh, dude, I got to put this on the list. But it's been forever since I saw it. I just remember as a kid, another library rental for me.
Yeah.
And I used to love the shit out of it, man.
the whole
This isn't one I think I would just sit down and watch. I'd have to be in the mood to watch
Yeah,
it,
for
and that's
sure.
why it got knocked out.
fair enough. But I mean, the whole thing with the when the dark presence when
Dude,
the
that
ghosts
scared me so
yeah,
come for you,
seriously.
Yeah.
like the guy in the train and shit.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
man. Yeah, I mean it's not a horror movie, but it's
It's got its moments.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
got its real creepy moments. Yeah, that's solid.
Yeah. Ghostbusters 2.
Okay, we already talked
Okay.
about that. Yeah.
Scary Movie 2, which is a comedy.
Oh, good
Oh
God.
my god. Okay.
Those fucking movies. Not my thing. You would think they would be, but I can't say that. If we were on a tour bus or a plane somewhere and I was I'd watch it and laugh at some of it, but it's so stupid.
I know, but dude, man, Michelle, Andy, like a bunch of us would watch this movie literally like every weekend for like a year straight. And we
Oh,
would just,
gosh.
yeah, and we know every line in this film. It's one of my favorite comedies of all time, dude. A movie I recently watched last weekend, I think, with Michelle was Witchboard from 1986.
Oh.
You remember that movie?
I forgot all about that
Yeah.
movie. Holy shit.
So part of this does deal with a possession towards the end.
Right.
So it's a borderline movie, but it's pretty damn awesome, dude. It's really fun.
Holy cow. Oh, I got to look that one up again. I haven't seen it since then. Fucking Witchboard. No
Yeah, dude.
shit. All right. That's a good one to pull out.
And then my last one is another borderline, which is Ghosts of Mars by John
Oh, I
Carpenter.
thought about that one too. Yeah, I mean, I think, I could, yeah.
Yeah, but it has Ghost in the title and Mars, which
It's a
I'm
win-win.
going to put any movie about Mars on the list that I
Yeah,
can.
I was just going to say, we've already talked about Mars movies a long time ago.
Yeah. It's like,
2 years ago.
Yeah.
one of our first ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, first-ish, yeah. All right, those are solid. Those are definitely good honorables. Those are very honorable mentions. Megan, I know you probably have 5 million of them. So. Well.
Some of them we've already talked about. Ghost being
Okay.
one of them. I had Dr. Sleep and The Shining, which
Okay.
we talked about why I knocked them out.
Okay.
But they're still amazing movies.
Yep.
I love fucking Casper. I watched it the other day. It's still amazing. Love it.
With Christina Ricci?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yep. Super fun. Adorable. Love it. And this one just barely. I had it in there and I had to flip it out of there the last second. Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner.
Dude, now
Fucking
Really?
amazing.
it's all about ghosts.
It's all about Ghost.
See, I've never seen it. Oh, I guess it would be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole premise of the movie, and that's an honorable mention for me. I went back and forth on it. The only reason I didn't include it is because even though it's very much about ghosts, and even though it's a very good movie, I feel like for me the ghosts. This is going to sound stupid to people. They're going to be like, "Of course it's about." But to me, like the ghosts weren't that ultimately, and it didn't matter that much. It didn't feel like it's not a ghost story. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, they're obviously ghosts, and they're very important because they're guiding and
Guiding him.
and the ghosts that are inhabiting that field and everything, and blah blah blah. But it just, it was just one of those, by all rights, it could and should be in the list.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't one that jumped out to me as being like ghost movie, even though it is. I don't have a good excuse for it not being in there.
Yeah, and that's one where I was talking about. It mentions where certain people could see them, they can talk with them, interact with them, and everything. Like they're really there, like the Shining bartender guy.
Yeah.
But other people can't see them.
So
Like,
they
what are you
just think
talking
you're
about? They're right
crazy.
there.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
they think you're just batshit crazy until they.
Is that the "if you build it, they will come" movie?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
You feel like he will come.
Oh, okay.
Well, they reveal that later.
Yeah. Well, that's what
at
they
first,
say.
Yeah, but he thinks it's they, and then he kind of finds out that
he
it's
always
really.
says he, and because
it's
he
really-
thinks it's the ball player he, not.
Yeah.
the
Don't
he.
spoil it.
I'm not.
Yeah. Don't do it.
I'm not doing it.
Is that it? Is that all your?
I said I wouldn't do it, but I am anyway. I am putting 1408 on there because I fucking love that
Okay.
movie. We talked about that in the Stephen King.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, but
Now it
still
should
love
be
it.
in there. It's in a lot of people's lists
Yep, it's in there.
from what I saw.
And it's
online.
only down in the honorable mentions because we already talked about it.
Right. But that's another one like Field of Dreams or Ghost that if this was a top 10, easily would have been in there. Yeah. Fair enough. All right. Honorable mentions, like I said, Ghost would have been one of them. Field of Dreams was in there. Another movie that I left it off because I was just like, oh yeah, okay, I guess it's technically Ghosts, but I don't know. It's one of those kind of weird nebulous things where you don't completely understand what he's supposed to be. I want to mention 1994, I believe. Was it 94? 94's The Crow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Which, I love The Crow, loved that movie. Amazing movie. Yeah, I mean, essentially he's a ghost, I mean, I don't know what else you would really call him, but he's able to be seen by pretty much anybody, like everybody in that movie sees him and he can do
If
stuff.
the ghost wants to be seen, they'll be seen.
And he can be hurt and stuff. And that's why I'm sort of like, well, but he's dead. I don't understand exactly what he is. Is he I don't know what it exactly he is. It's kind of a weird thing. So because of that, I left it off because I was like, I can't really. Another one I want to mention real quick that I remembered was it's a favorite movie of mine that I almost forgot about, and I left it off, and I'll explain why. Is 1990s Flatliners.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever seen that movie?
I know about it, but I have not seen it. It's
Oh,
with
you should.
Kiefer Sutherland?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, you should see it. Yeah, you'd probably like it.
Yeah.
Both of you.
I think
guys-
you've told me that before.
Both of you guys would probably really like this movie.
Yeah.
And the only reason I didn't include it was because my first, it was actually in my top 5, and at first, but then the more I thought about it, I said, well, the problem with it is kind of, in a sense, sort of like what we said about other movies, like the Vincent Price movie, is that it's like, is it technically ghosts really, or is it more the way it's what you're being led to believe? And some of it doesn't completely get clearly answered. And because of that, I said, I'm going to leave it off. And instead, and in its place, I put The Fog because I remembered The Fog from my childhood. And I said, okay, that's legit ghosts. That felt more proper on the list. But I'll be talking about Flatliners another time. It'll definitely come up in some other discussion because of what it deals with, because it deals with people that it's a movie about med students that flatline themselves intentionally to try and see what's on the other side. And then they bring themselves back in just enough time. It's all these like reckless, experimental
That's healthy.
med students. No, it's not at all. Well, but they get into that. And much like kind of like in Stir of Echoes, it deals with opening up parts of your mind and what would that do and what would you be able to see and different things that happen with reality. And anyway, so I left that off. And then real quick, one last thing I just want to mention, and the only reason this didn't make the list is because we were talking specifically about movies and not television shows, because television shows could be a whole other thing that maybe we'll do another time. We'll talk more about television shows. But I had to mention the recent Netflix series, The Haunting of Hill House.
Oh, that was good.
I heard that was good.
Yeah, that was real good.
I watched the whole series at least twice.
Wow.
Yeah, watched the whole thing twice. Real good. And
The new season's coming out soon.
yeah, well, that's going to be Bly House.
Yeah.
It's another one of these. They're doing it sort of like
American Horror Story, it seems like.
right. It's kind of American Horror Story-ish, where it's going to be a new story, but it's going to have a lot of the same actors playing different characters.
That's cool.
So keep reusing. So and it's good because the casting was really good. They did a great job with the casting and making you hate people that you're supposed to hate, and feel empathy for people you're supposed to feel sorry for.
Or both at the same time.
A lot of that in this, and the show goes back and forth where it's you're in modern times, you're back 30 years ago, you're in modern time, and that gets a little difficult at times, like figuring out what's going on. Sometimes you're like you can get it. That's why I watched it twice. I enjoyed it more the second time. So
you gave me a heads up, so I knew to look for that. So.
Yeah. We let you know a little bit more about that. But watching it the first time, I was like, I'm confused. I don't understand. And how did this? But once I watched it a second time, all my questions were answered and stuff. Really, really good. So if you're looking for something like that to binge, you're in the mood for something that's ghosty, but it's not like gruesome.
No.
It's suspense.
I could handle it.
Psychological.
Really good.
But you like haunted houses and all that kind of stuff, this is it for you. It's not cheesy or cornball at all. It's
very serious.
Depressing at times, yeah. So then that's it, man. So, all right. This was a good one.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun.
A lot of ones, bringing up ones that some of us need to see that they never saw, and ones that I forgot about, and like, oh, I need to go back and watch that again, or... Yeah, that's always the best when we are like, oh, okay, like we have time to watch even more shit than we already have on our list. But
we'll make time.
we always try at least. So anyway, all right, everybody. Thanks for checking it out. Thanks for listening and watching. Make sure, as usual, please hit subscribe, hit that little bell, ring that bell, and so that you get updated. Let other people know about the show. Please share this around. Rate us if you're so inclined. We need ratings. At this point, to give us a bad rating, I don't give a fuck. Just give us a fucking rating, because we're trying. So
leave us a comment of your favorites.
Yeah, exactly.
Agree with us or disagree.
Yeah, and if you're pissed that we didn't include angels in the outfield or angels in the end zone, well, you can also let us know those in the comments below.
We won't care. But you can still let us know. Angels in the outfield.
I forgot about that movie.
Wow. That's not really ghosts, is that? That's angels.
Well, angels are ghosts, right? They're a spirit.
I don't know. See, that's a whole other thing. We got to start the show all over again. I think we just got to start.
Throw it out.
Yep. Here we go. We'll see you again very soon, folks. Thanks for checking it out. And see you.
Adios. Boo.
Boo.
It's in Ghost Boo. Not we're booing you. We're just saying.
Yeah. We're not like not like boo earns. Jeez Louise. Adios, amigos.
They're coming for me now. And then they'll come for you.